For weeks, this president has been under fire for not getting executive orders done to send out your second stimulus checks and stimulus package and FPUC. And now in the last 24 hours, he has sat in Walter Reed signing documents that Twitter is claiming for hours and hours were staged, suggesting he's not working to get executive orders done. The situation is unfolding and unraveling quickly as Mark Meadows is under fire from the president himself for giving updates the president's unhappy about in trying to get your stimulus package delivered. This is a massive, massive element of confusion and conjecture and scandal, and this is day 3 of 14. Hey, good morning, everybody. This is day 3 of 14 days of self-isolation by the President of the United States amid questions on how, when, where, and by what means you can get your second stimulus package approved and finalized. A lot of major developments. This taping is done at 8:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on a Sunday morning, so events could in fact change by the minute by the time that this broadcast is eventually aired. Go to the front channel, subscribe, because no one else is delivering the breaking details in a nonpartisan, core to the fact manner like this channel. Also like this video. Let's get to the breaking details. As I've always promised with this series, 14 days of the president's self-isolation and your ability to get second stimulus, I will not be focusing on scandals. I will not be focusing on conjecture and intrigue and hope to get a soap opera storyline out of the events of the day. But when it comes to signing executive orders, when it comes to questions of what is actually being worked on, that has now become the topic of discussion from this president. Let me get to the breaking news, the details that I'll be going over in this video. First, I will be going over the major issue, which is, can Steve and Nancy get something done amid calls that they should be self-isolating for the next 14 days because they were in the line of path to interact with the president after Steve Mnuchin met with him in person on Wednesday when the president was certainly carrying the virus. Second, what is unfolding with the situation with the Senate and the House? With the Senate now closed, can we get anything done legislatively? Third, what is the issue for executive order amidst a scandal erupting overnight as to whether the president really is working at Walter Reed or is not, and that pictures allegedly are staged, suggesting that he's actually signing executive orders? Finally, and this is what I'm going to lead with, Mark Meadows, one of the chief negotiators for your second stimulus package, the voice that has the president's ear for second stimulus package, is under fire by the president for statements he made to news overnight about the president's condition. Let's start with that breaking development minutes ago. The president and his medical condition are an issue of national security and should be disclosed to the American public at any time. He is a citizen. He is not a private citizen. He is now President of the United States, and his medical condition needs to be known by the American people. Well, yesterday, his medical condition remained much a mystery and continues to remain a mystery. I'm not going to go into that subject matter because that's not the focus of the channel. What I will be going into is how that impacts your second stimulus check. As you know, 4 people were involved with the stimulus negotiations all the way up to about 2 weeks ago, and they were Steve Mnuchin, Mark Meadows, Nancy Pelosi, and Chuck Schumer. In the last few weeks, they were reduced to just Nancy and Steve. But the way it had worked was, even as of just 2 days ago, is that whatever Steve and Nancy do, then Steve, whatever Nancy and Steve Mnuchin do, Steve then goes back to Mark Meadows and consults with Mark Meadows, and then Mark Meadows consults with the president, and then it goes back the same direction, President, Mark Meadows, Steve Mnuchin. Well, Steve Mnuchin is unheard of in the last 48 hours, but Mark Meadows is absolutely under fire. He's under fire from the president himself amid really, really bad situations. What happened was the president was really trying to control the outpouring of news about his medical condition in a way that is really not suitable to the American public. I'm not going to go into that. But what happened was Mark Meadows appeared on Fox News and said details about the president's medical condition that you heard nowhere else. And when the president heard that Mark Meadows did that, he lost it. Mark Meadows yesterday said that yesterday morning, which is referring now to Friday morning. This is a Saturday comment by Mark Meadows, said Friday morning. Yesterday we were really concerned about that. He had a fever and he had a blood oxygen level that was dropping rapidly. The biggest thing that we have seen is that with no fever now and with him doing really well with his oxygen saturation levels. But yesterday morning, we were really concerned about that. He had a fever and he had a blood oxygen level that had dropped rapidly. This statement has not been confirmed by the president's doctor. The president's doctor was asked to comment about the president's oxygen level, refused to comment about the oxygen level. NBC and several leading news outlets reached out to the president's White House staff for comment about Meadows' comments. They would not. It then followed with remarks that claimed that the president was furious with Meadows. Now, why is this so important for your second stimulus? It's because these are people getting your stimulus done, and now suddenly they can't agree upon even operations of the White House. I'm very, very optimistic based upon the current results, Meadows further said, and the doctor said he's not out of the woods next. The next 48 hours are still, with the history of this virus, can be very tough. Again, this is really not bowing well for stimulus when Mark Meadows is saying comments that the president did not really authorize him to say in a manner in which it is eroding the operations of the White House as to second stimulus. Next, let's turn to the issue of Steve Mnuchin and Nancy Pelosi. They have not spoken at all to press since Friday. The question is when they will next speak. This is what happened. The president had Steve Mnuchin in the White House in the Oval Office on Wednesday. The president was positive at that time. He tested positive on Thursday, but he was clearly carrying the virus as of last Sunday. So Steve Mnuchin was exposed to the president face-to-face on a Wednesday. Steve Mnuchin on Friday tested negative per his press secretary. She said in a tweet that Steve Mnuchin tests daily. She has not tweeted since then about Steve Mnuchin's condition. She has not provided any further updates about Steve Mnuchin's testings. Nancy Pelosi then met with Steve Mnuchin on Thursday in her office, a day after Steve Mnuchin was in the presence of the president on Wednesday. Nancy Pelosi tested on Thursday, and those results were released on Friday, if I recall the time frame, and she tested negative. The question is really what a lot of people are asking and what I'm asking is how can operations continue for second stimulus? Former Obama Homeland Security Secretary Jen Johnson said in a statement today and yesterday that this is not how you operate government. These people need to be in self-isolation. And ultimately, if you're in self-isolation, how do you get second stimulus done? We're sitting here and we're wondering, why are these people not prepared for something so inherently simple? If you watch Mornings LALATE at 8:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, I detailed for you that as early as April 15th, roughly 10 days before this channel launched, Nancy Pelosi, Steny Hoyer, Mitch McConnell were all asked, okay, you have this pandemic that just started. What are you going to do to prepare for remote voting in the case in which the pandemic shuts down operations of the Congress? At that time, the Congress was shut down. The halls were closed. They literally shut down operations. They said, what are you going to do when this pandemic gets worse and you have to do remote voting? They said, we'll get to it. They didn't get to it. And so as we sit here today, this is what you need to know about your second stimulus check, your second stimulus package, your FPUC, your hazard pay, all those things. There's three paths for it to get done when we deal on day 3 of this pandemic. One, the president can do it by executive order. The question is whether the president has lost confidence in the American public, whether the president has is physically fit enough to do executive orders, whether or not he would do executive orders amidst the now scandal that he is facing, that he allegedly is not in good health and that he's not able to sign documents. As we deal with that scenario, let me deal with that first. I really think that this is even more reasons to do executive order. I think this could be interpreted as really good news to do executive order because suddenly, all the naysayers, all the scandal conspiracy theorists, if that's a word, are hitting him with claims that he's not working, that he's unhealthy. This is exactly the time to say, hey, I'm incredibly healthy. Here's an executive order. Here's your stimulus checks. I worked during the pandemic. Mitch didn't. Nancy didn't. I got this done. I'm your hero. I just think it would be categorically incredible. And have it videotaped, have it made very clear that this was not a staged event, that this was not some faux person signing a fake document. It was not, Melania 2.0. I know you've seen the fake Melania tweets and all that as well. So just do it, and I think it absolutely would be categorically incredible for the president, for everything across the board. Will he do it? This is a president who simply not understand the gravity of doing things correctly at the correct time. So my opinion, I don't know. I hope that he understands this is the time, exactly now, when you're being called out on stage press ops in Walter Reed, when you're being claimed of faking the medical history of yourself in the last 7 days. Now is the time to take the message and send that message away by hitting us with the correct message is, here's your stimulus package by executive order. Isn't that incredible? Isn't that so simple? Well, it's not simple when you're having problems with Marco Meadows. Next, legislatively. Can this be done legislatively? No, it can't be done in the Congress because the Congress is shut down. Now, the Purple Power's push now is for Mitch McConnell to reopen the Senate and to ensure that the House remains open by remote voting. This is silliness. This is 2020. People should have been prepared for remote voting as soon as the pandemic hit. This is September. This is naive. You spend money on everything else. Spend money on a couple computers. I mean, here's the kid in California, the kid with the pink shirt in California who was raising and slamming that local city somewhere in the United States that bought the $15,000 security cameras to do remote commuting, remote voting for their simple little city laws. Okay, go spend $15,000 of the federal government's money and buy some cameras and get remote voting done. I mean, this is just ridiculous. Third, Nancy and Steve. There's a deep concern as I sit here today. I don't know what can be done between Nancy and Steve and Nancy and Steve's office. Remember, every time I say Nancy and Steve, I'm referring also to their office. They have staff they need to have access to. They have files they need to have access to. Every time that Steve does a number, he has to send it back to his Treasury Department, and all those people are working on things and modifying things. These are people who should be in self-isolation right now, and they should be in self-isolation for 14 days. Steve Mnuchin is fifth in line to the president by term of succession. Nancy Pelosi is second in line to the president behind Mike Pence. These are people who should be in self-isolation. So can they get stimulus package agreements done? Yes. Would they get it done? I don't know. Americans and viewers of this channel have simply seen a lot of excuses over 4 weeks. Post office, impeachment, new impeachment, pot bill, lobster bill. We've seen every excuse not to get work done. And now we have even more excuses. The concern is that as we start a Sunday morning, Jake Tapper was not exaggerating on CNN. No one from the White House team was available anywhere to talk about anything of any subject matter this morning. This is a Sunday morning. We would normally have Steve and Nancy talking about how horrible they hate each other, and Mitch saying, I can't stand Steve's teeth, and Pete Navarro saying you're all a bunch of fools, and Chuck Schumer saying, go pound sand. No one is talking about anything because ultimately these are a bunch of elder statesmen who have now been in an environment in which they may have been exposed, and they definitely are concerned about their health. But have they prepared for your stimulus checks? Let me answer some of your 796 questions from yesterday. Jim Paz, this is ridiculous. Every day is tomorrow. Ashley, he just tweeted that American people need stimulus, get it done. That tweet was made by the president before Mitch McConnell shut down the Senate. And then we had the Steve Scalise tweet, which I covered on Mornings LA. Steve Scalise's tweet was such a ridiculous much of nothing, as I'm itching from the smoke and everything. It's very smoky here again in LA. I don't know if there was another fire last night. Steve Scalise said the president's working on Americans' stimulus package. What package? No package can be delivered to the Senate. The Senate's closed. So Steve Scalise's tweet was much of, almost propaganda-ish. Emily, on the White House page, he posted the stimulus get it done. Again, I appreciate if you've joined this channel and have found this channel from other places, but I'm dealing with so many false narratives all over the place. I'm dealing with Steve Scalise's propaganda. I'm dealing with the president's tweets that are then untimely as soon as Mitch McConnell closes the Senate. I have other channels that are telling you, it passed, it passed. I still have people jumping in the comments saying, it passed on Friday, we're so good, we could get stimulus. I gotta make this very clear to you. There's no law. There's no law. There's no body to give you a law because the Senate is closed. You need the Senate to be open for there to be a law passed. The fact that something passed in the House means much of nothing. It has to go to the Senate floor and be voted and become a law. It cannot become a law now because the Senate is closed. What is even worse is that when we talk about Zoom and remote voting and all that, guess what? That can't be changed just because we say it. The Senate has to come back into session and say we change the Senate rules to approve Zoom and electronic voting and remote voting. They're not going to come back in session to do that because they're now in isolation. Can the president order them back into session? No. Can the president order their rules modified? Yes. Oh, it's really on the edge of what he can and cannot do. Can the president order that Mitch convene by executive order remotely? Yes, he can do that. Vicky, thank you, LA, for saying that you did not like Nancy Pelosi's comment. I didn't like it either. Oh, Nancy Pelosi has made... Let me adjust the light because it's really getting bad here. Okay. Nancy Pelosi has made a lot of other comments in the last 24 hours, which I really don't like, and I really don't want to focus on negativity. There we go. But she's made some really bad comments. Like, this is sort of like, you got what you expected for karma-like comments. I really don't like that. They've done nothing for the people, says Mary. May Tinkerbell. If they're going to do retroactive unemployment, they should do retroactive stimulus checks. Karen, there's no urgency. They've proven that. They believe anything other than this would be crazy. Sharon, I just wish they would get to the business and get it done. Tamara, wondering why when the American people have enough and just lose their calmness. Chris, President tweet all he wants everyone to get things done. It's important times like this that viewers understand the procedural things. Keeping it together because it just, you're going to see tweets. Let's go stimulus. Let's do it right now. And I'm going to get 15 DMs that said that's such positive news. It's not positive news. The Senate's closed. You can't get things done if the Senate's closed. I think this feels like deja vu all over again in the words of Mel Brooks. There was that time back in July when the Senate was closed. Mitch and everyone went home. Nancy went home. And then the president said, get it done. Let's get it done. And I'm like, okay, everything's closed. Everything's closed. Get what done, Mr. President? It's just much of nothing. And I think what he's doing is he's tapping into sentiments of American people who don't understand you can't get a stimulus package done if the Senate's closed. Karen, right now, I believe everyone should get $1,500 a month. Enna, can't wait till this is over. Rel, it's true President Trump is tweeting, get the stimulus done. Jeff, at this point, the bailout of the government, our money trusts, and this is getting depressing. Does Mitch know that $2.2 trillion is not coming out of his bank account? Says Jacino. Yes, he does know that. He doesn't care. Lisa, well, if we have to be quarantined, put them in the same room, then they can leave us alone. If they have to be quarantined. Brenda, just keep on cutting other parts out long before they'll have their own stimulus, but the people have no more money. That's a great comment by Brenda Jackson. Basically, she's saying that Nancy's stimulus package, which is not a stimulus package, it's a relief package. It's a federal budget package. She keeps on taking things out for us. Eventually, we'll have nothing, and the federal government will have everything. Lynn, I'm just praying we get through this, and I'm praying for God and our Steelers checks. Steeler checks. Oh, okay, so I guess she's praying for her team as well. I love that. Boy, I mean, there's just in the scheme of things, a lot of things are going to unravel very quickly, and we're only on day 3 of 14. First, the false narratives are really percolating right away. You're going to see Steve Scalise's type tweets where things are going to be like, we love a stimulus package, let's get it done. And it's going to make it sound like something's coming. It can't come. The Senate's closed. Stop telling people nonsense, Senator Scalise. Your Senate's closed. You should have urged Mitch not to close the Senate. Second, you're going to have the president look like he is encouraging things and doing things, but if things are closed, you can't get things done. This is the time for executive order. Third, the polls are really getting bad for this guy. Mr. President, the new CNBC poll puts you 14 percentage points behind Joe Biden. It was less than a week ago that I said the president needs to do executive orders now because the race is very tight. It could be a 3-point race. It's no longer a 3-point race. It's a double-digit race. Stimulus checks are needed now for the American public. And as I said in yesterday's video, ultimately, if he did executive orders, you could get the stimulus checks within, 10 business days, which is incredibly great news. It's not going to be great news for this president because by the time you get the stimulus checks, the vote may be already cast. A lot of twists and turns, and I'm trying to keep you positive, but I'm also trying to keep you educated. I think at the moment, the situation is becoming so unraveling and so confusing that one of my focuses is really help you understand where we are by the hour. And I appreciate you for staying on top of the news as well. So go to the front channel, subscribe, and then also like this video. Coming up next is Afternoons at LALATE. As always, stay informed, stay smiling, and stay with LA.